You're sitting on your couch. Everything is quiet. And then you feel it. That strange, heavy feeling of being watched. You look up, and there it is. Your dog, completely still. Eyes locked on you. Not blinking, not moving, just staring, like it knows something you don't. Most people laugh it off. They assume the dog wants food, or a walk, or it's just being weird. But what if the real reason is far more fascinating than that? What if your dog is doing something deeply intelligent every single time those eyes land on you? Today we're going inside the science of the dog stare. And what we find will completely change how you see your dog. Dogs have been living alongside humans for somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years. That's a staggering amount of time. And in all those centuries, something extraordinary happened. Dogs didn't just adapt to live near us. They evolved to watch us, to read us, to understand us in ways no other animal on Earth can. The stare is not accidental. It is not random. It is one of the most sophisticated behaviors in the entire animal kingdom. And it begins with something called social referencing. When a dog is uncertain, nervous, or faced with something unfamiliar, it looks at you, not at the object, not at the door, at you. Researchers have documented this behavior in studies comparing dogs to wolves, and the difference is striking. Wolves almost never look to humans for guidance. Dogs do it constantly. They have literally evolved the instinct to search the human face for emotional information. Think about what that means. Your dog is not just watching you. It is reading you. It is scanning your posture, your facial expression, your breathing, the tension in your shoulders. It is running a real-time analysis of your emotional state, and it is using that data to decide how to feel about the world around it. So when your dog stares at you across the room, it may simply be checking in. Are you calm? Good. The world is safe. Are you tense? Something might be wrong. It is using you as an emotional compass, but the stare is not always about safety. Sometimes it is about anticipation. Picture this. It's late afternoon. You're working at your desk. Your dog walks in, sits down 3 feet away, and just stares at you, unwavering, patient, focused. You haven't moved. You haven't said anything, but somehow your dog already knows something is coming. Here's what's actually happening. Dogs are extraordinary pattern recognizers. They notice things we don't even realize we're doing. The way you glance at the clock. The specific creak of your chair when you're about to stand up. The subtle change in your breathing before you reach for the leash. Your dog has cataloged thousands of these micro cues, and now, the moment it detects even the faintest signal, it begins to watch, waiting for the sequence to complete. That stare is not random. It is anticipation built from months or years of careful observation. Your dog has essentially memorized your daily routine and is now tracking exactly where you are in it. Scientists call this sensitivity to human behavior, a form of social cognition. And dogs have it at a level that is, frankly, astonishing. In one famous study, dogs were able to follow a human's gaze to find a hidden object. They didn't just watch where the person looked. They understood the communicative intent behind that gaze. That is a level of social reasoning that most animals never develop. Now here is where things get really interesting. Most people assume that when a dog stares at them, it means the dog wants something. Food, attention, a walk. And yes, sometimes that's exactly what it means. Dogs are incredibly effective communicators, and they learn very quickly that eye contact with a human tends to produce results. If your dog stares at you every evening around 6, and you inevitably get up and fill the food bowl, your dog has made a connection. The stare becomes a tool. But there's a version of staring that has nothing to do with want or need, and this is the one most people miss entirely. It's the soft stare, the slow blink. The dog that is lying nearby, not asking for anything, not waiting for anything, and simply looking at you. Quietly, calmly, with a kind of stillness that almost feels peaceful. This is something different altogether. This is affection. In 2015, a remarkable study was published in the journal Science. Researchers found that when dogs and their owners engage in mutual eye contact, both species experience a surge in oxytocin. This is the same hormone released between a mother and her newborn, between people who are falling in love, between lifelong friends reuniting after years apart. This is not a metaphor. This is chemistry. When your dog looks at you with that soft, unhurried gaze, its brain is literally flooding with the same bonding hormone yours is. The stare is not just observation. It is connection. It is love, expressed through the only language evolution gave them. Wolves do not do this. Wild animals do not do this. Direct, sustained eye contact in the animal world is almost universally a threat display, an act of dominance or aggression. To stare is to challenge, but dogs broke that rule. Somewhere in the long journey from wolf to companion, they crossed a threshold. They learned to make eye contact with humans not as a challenge but as a gesture of trust, of attachment, of belonging. That is not a small thing. That is evolution bending toward love. Now it would be dishonest to say that every stare is warm and sweet. There's another kind of stare, and it matters that you can recognize it. A hard stare is different. The dog's body goes still, not relaxed, but frozen. The gaze is fixed and unblinking. The muscles along the spine and neck may be slightly raised. This is not the soft, gentle gaze of affection. This is an alert, a warning. A dog communicating in the clearest way. It knows how that it feels, threatened or uncomfortable. Most people misread this. They lean in. They try to make contact. They interpret the stillness as calm. But in dog language, this stare means something urgent. Back off. Give me space. I'm about to make a decision you won't like. Understanding the difference between a soft stare and a hard stare is one of the most important things any dog owner can learn. One is an invitation. The other is a boundary. And dogs, unlike humans, mean exactly what they say. There is one final reason. Dogs stare that often surprises people. And it comes from somewhere very old. Before domestication. Before the first campfire. Before any of this. There were wolves. And wolves are deeply social animals who live in coordinated family groups. Within those groups, communication is everything. Wolves watch each other constantly. They read body language. They track emotional states. They use gaze to signal intention, establish trust, and coordinate action. Dogs inherited all of that. The watching, the reading, the ability to hold a gaze and understand what lies behind it. What changed is the target. Instead of watching other wolves, they turned that ancient attention toward us. They redirected a skill born in the wild toward the strangest, most unpredictable creature they had ever encountered. And somehow it worked. Dogs learned to read us better than we read them. They learned our routines, our moods, our patterns, our promises. They became, over thousands of years, the most finely tuned observers of human behavior on the planet. So the next time your dog sits across from you and simply stares, consider what is actually happening in that moment. It may be checking that you're okay. It may be anticipating the thing you're about to do before you've even decided to do it. It may be speaking to you in the only way it knows how, through a language of eye contact and presence. Or it may simply be doing what dogs have always done. Watching the person they love. Making sure you're still there. That stare carries 15,000 years of history. It carries the memory of wolves. The quiet intelligence of an animal that chose to stay close to us. And the wordless, steady devotion of a creature that has staked its entire existence on the belief that humans are worth watching. The next time those eyes find yours, remember what you're really looking at. Not a dog waiting for dinner, not a dog being weird, but an ancient partnership expressing itself in the oldest way it knows. With a look that says, simply and completely, I see you. And I'm not going anywhere.